the cloud. Good deal. Want to welcome everybody who is online to this special food preparation. I don't know how you all knew how many people should come here. It's just every time it seems like it's a full house, and it's just not like you can't breathe or anything like that. So anyway, we want to welcome you all. I'm not going to waste a lot of your time. Just Dr. Clapper was mentioned that he's going to be here on Monday the 4th, and then for the people online. And then on the 3rd, there's the Vegan Fest. Planning on going to that. It's a fun event. The day before, and then the day before that, there's actually going to be a potluck if you like potlucks, but it's down in Roseburg. They usually have 100 people down there, and if you're interested to see what a whole food plant-based potluck with 100 people is like. It's quite an experience. We're taking them down. We're going to go to the fish ladder, look at the fish under the river. If you haven't been to Roseburg, it's a fun kind of event. We're going to try to make it fun for him.
Where's it located at?
In Roseburg. So where's the fish ladder? It's on the river. You walk down 100 feet, or I don't know how many steps, but it's the first Christian church, I believe.
Usually I can tell.
Methodist Church.
I'll get
We'll get whatever the address. It'll be advertised pretty soon. We just found out about it today, actually. So anyway, Acorn Cafe. We are so fortunate to have you. You did such a wonderful presentation last time, and we're all looking forward to it. I'm not going to waste any more time. I'll let you introduce yourselves to the group.
All right. Well, nice to be back. For those of you who haven't met us before, I'm Corey. I'm the chef of Acorn Cafe. This is Miranda, my partner, co-owner of Acorn Cafe. It's kind of nice. We were talking about a whole food potluck coming up. I think that salads are usually something that's not at a potluck, but I think that this one would do really well. I think potlucks are a good opportunity to sort of show off that you can do something cool without taking so many risks that you run into the chance of making something bad. So today we're going to make a citrus and olive salad. It's going to have some fennel in it also, and it's going to be topped with some pistachios. So we're going to start by peeling some shallots. You can use really any kind of onion to make a vinaigrette, but shallots are just so potent. And they take up such a small amount of space that if you don't want to intimidate people with big pieces of onion, even if they're shaped really thin, sometimes a red onion just looks kind of intimidating. So I like shallots. Shallots are the traditional French thing to use, what I was taught, but I'll use anything, and sometimes I'll even use garlic if I don't want to use onions for some reason. So you don't have to peel them very carefully. I'm using my knife, but you can just get in there with your fingers and peel off any tough parts. And we're starting with this because we're going to start making our vinaigrette. So we're going to start by shaving the shallot into some lemon juice, and that will be the start of our very simple lemon vinaigrette. It's it's important to start out with the acid, whether you're using vinegar or lemon juice, whatever, because salts won't dissolve in oil, and oil we are going to add later on, but we want to make sure that the salt has had a chance to dissolve. If you forget it, it's not the end of the world. Just salt it anyway, but it's a good way to start. So this is a mandolin, for those of you who don't already know. The purpose is to be able to set it to a certain thickness, and then all of your slices will be exactly the same every time. An important thing to know about a mandolin is the blade is incredibly sharp, notoriously sharp. Every restaurant kitchen, everyone is a little bit afraid of mandolins, no matter how much you've used them before. So I think they're a great tool. They're super useful, but most models that you'll buy for a house have like a guard where it'll hold onto the food for you, and you don't have to risk your fingertips. Mine is very simple because I don't know why. Miranda, do you have any theories as to why I use this one? Yeah, you feel alive, you know?
You want to mention glove, Kevlar glove?
Yeah. Another option is you can wear like a brand new gardening glove is a thing that we used to use at a restaurant that I worked at. They would buy each of us one. Well, I'm sure they would buy a pair, but you'd only get one for your right hand. So that way, if you hit the blade, it just wouldn't cut through it. So that's another thing you could do. You could wear a couple layers of just like nitrile kitchen gloves also. Basically, just don't try to be a hero. Don't be super brave. So my mandolin is set by just turning screws that hold the blade in place. So I just did one full revolution, but the point is you want it quite thin. You don't want to be crunching through onion, even if it is softened by the lemon juice. You want it quite thin. So I'm going to start by putting the shallot in. And I'm going to add some lemon juice.
Is that just one shot or two?
This is two, but we're gonna make a big salad. I think you want to have enough to taste it, but it's kind of fun to play around with it. The magic of making your own vinaigrettes is, I think that people are pretty unique in how they want them, and you should be able to play around with them. And they're so low effort. You just don't have to do much to make a vinaigrette. Do I have a waste basket, perhaps?
It's coming.
Thank you so much, Trish. Just want to make sure everyone can see what I'm doing here. Thank you.
Is there an as we go question there?
I wondered, it looked like you cut just one end of the onion, and then I'm thinking maybe you got the question answered because you had it to hold on to.
Yeah, you want to be sure to leave a kind of handle. And the back end of the shallot is a lot like any other kind of onion where you hit the roots and it's really not very edible anyway. It's not dangerous, but it's just not fun to eat. So it's a great handle because you can just throw it away when you feel like your fingers are getting close. But like I said, don't just hold on to a thing. You get one of the ones with a guard. So now we have our fennel. It's usually sold like this. Sometimes if you're growing it, you'll get, like the full frond portions. And I think this makes a really cool garnish on a salad. So I'm going to save what they did include for me. I'm going to cut these and set them aside. I'm going to make this a little bit thicker because I want to have a little bit of crunch to the fennel that's going in there. That's a good start, but I think we could do. A nice thing about making salads, especially with a tool like this, is the last recipe I gave you all, the mushroom bourguignon, was, I won't say it was super technical, but it was pretty involved, and you wanted to do things in a very precise way. Making salad is kind of like as long as everything gets in the bowl, you're more or less guaranteed to have something great, So this doesn't require a specific recipe. This is more like a list of ingredients, and you can include or exclude what you want to. If you have an idea about something you'd like to add, you should just do it, because I think that that's one of like the joys of making salad, is you get to play around with it so much. Okay, so we're gonna start moving on to our citruses. First, I'm going to do this grapefruit. The way we're going to be mostly cutting these today is a method called supreming. Supreming, the goal is to cut around all of the, like if you imagine feeding kids orange slices, they don't like the white part. They're like tough. It's not exactly pith, but the membrane inside. It's kind of bitter. It doesn't taste like much, and it's tough. So fussy fine dining cooks also don't like it. And so we have a way of cutting around it. So what I started by doing is cutting the top and the bottom off. You want to be able to see the fruit on both sides before you get started. And now I'm cutting around. And it's easy to want to be timid because you don't want to waste the fruit. But the important thing here is you don't leave any of the pith behind. If you're not in a hurry, you can just take your time, go back over it. I'm missing some parts here. I'm just going to go all the way around, and then I'll come back. and I'll trim some of that off.
Talk about the advantage of the knife that you're using.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of being able to do everything with a chef's knife, so a larger knife than this. But it really is a lot easier. I have, you certainly could. You don't need to buy a new knife for this. But if you find yourself really enjoying smaller fruit and vegetable tasks like this is called a petty knife, sometimes called utility knife, and it's just easier. So you just have less knife in your way to do, to either bump into something or cut yourself with. That would never happen. Not to me, obviously. Okay, so we've cut the pith off. We can still see where those lines are. So this is sort of the last part we want to get past is these lines in here. So what I'm going to do, holding it, I'm looking towards the middle. I'm making a knife cut right towards the middle there. And then I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to cut the same thing. And then you get is a little wedge of citrus that doesn't have any of that pith on it. And it's just the most delicious way to eat citrus. It's also more work than most people ever want to do, which is to your advantage. If you're cooking for other people, they might not know exactly what you did, but they're going to be impressed by the fact that it looks so clean and it's so nice to eat. And you don't have to tell them that it's not that hard. You can just let them believe whatever you want, or you can tell them. I prefer to let people think I'm incredible, but that's my business, so I guess that makes sense for me. So, I am holding this in my hand. This is a sharp knife, so I'm going to take my time going around. And as you get more comfortable, you'll find it doesn't take very long, and you don't run a lot of risk of cutting into yourself because it really doesn't require me to force it at all. The knife should just slide right through, and there's plenty of fruit in the way to stop it before it gets through to my hand. But it's still a task you're cutting something with in your hand. So it is really good to be careful here. Okay, so we've got some grapefruit. We've got a couple of different kinds of oranges here. And I can't tell which one are the blood oranges, so I'm going to just cut into this one and see what we find. Regular orange. Okay, so we'll supreme this navel orange also. Again, I'm just going around, and I don't know how well everyone can see from there, but I can see this line here. I'm just trying to tuck my blade under that and follow the shape of the orange. It does take practice, but I think it's really rewarding, and it's just calming, Who doesn't love to just like smell oranges and grapefruits and mandarins and just, yeah, I think it's so fast to get it to come together, and it just tastes so good. Oh, do we have some stuff in the way here so you can't really see? Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's make a Thank you to my lovely assistant.
So if you using organic or since you're not using the peel or anything, does it add?
We still get organic for the restaurant. I can't speak to the importance of using organic fruit for this purpose since you are discarding the pith, but I would say it's a better farming practice, so it makes me happy to know that we're getting it organic.
So I see a lot of juice coming out of your oranges and stuff and grapefruit. Could you actually cut it over the thing and have the juices in?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Will you share about that simplest version?
Yeah, so the first time, it's a surprising combination, right? Citrus and olives. And the first time I learned how to make a salad that was called citrus and olive salad was when I was at Marche. And the version we were doing there was just cut up citrus and olives on top. And we drizzled it with a little olive oil, but that was the vinaigrette, the juice that was coming out of the oranges and the olive oil that we drizzled over it, and it tasted very complete. It was not lacking at all. It was simple and it was delicious and it was beautiful, but it really didn't feel like we were missing out on anything. So, okay, we're down a bunch. Huzzah. So a little bit of a simple variation on this. I'm going to cut the pith off in the same way, but I think it's fun to have different shapes because sort of what's engaging visually about this salad is it has these different colors and these different smells, but also kind of want to vary the shapes a little bit. As awesome as the Supremes are, and you could just do straight up Supremes, uh, you can. It's okay to leave. I'm choosing the blood orange because it has a particularly thin membrane. Even when you look at it, you can kind of see that. So rather than cut it into Supremes, I'm just going to cut this into wheats. And if I notice a big section in the middle, sometimes you'll find a big pithy piece right in the middle of it. Just pull that out with your hands, and then you almost have something that's as delicate as a Supreme without having to do quite as much work. And you have a different shape. All right, for simplicity's sake, I think I am just going to toss those in here.
So you've done some wedges and some slices, right?
Yeah, and I'm just cutting into each citrus. Since the blood oranges look the same on the outside as the navel oranges, I'm just sort of giving myself an opportunity to see what I'm working with before I commit. But there's no reason you can't Supreme a blood orange. That's just the way I'm doing it today. No matter how much practice I get, it's always nice to go back and take a second look because it's easy to miss some. So there's some seeds in this one, but luckily it's really not too big of a problem to just make sure I got the knife pointed away from me. I'm just gonna sort of pry those out. And you could leave them. We've all eaten orange seeds. I think that what I don't want the takeaway of this salad to be that you really need to fuss over it, because the point to me is that you don't need to fuss over it and it's going to be awesome every time. So don't fuss over it. Don't. Or no more than you want to.
I think I'd do a little bit more stuffing if it was potluck.
Yeah, well,
Something that's at home, like I keep on all all of it.
yeah, I would say this is a great dish to share with people because I love people's reaction when they look really skeptical about the idea of orange and olive together or citrus and olive together. And then they try it and then they're obsessed with it. I mean, I don't want to oversell it before you try it, but I do think it's very good. And I think that most people do really enjoy that combination. In my opinion, the combination works for the same reason those vinaigrette ratios work. The combination, the balance of the fat and the acid is just something they round each other out really well. So you have lemon juice and the juice from all these citrus combining with the olive oil. You have this really fatty olive, and you have the really acidic juice. And what you end up with is something that rounds itself out really nicely. And it really isn't a sort of extreme dish, even though it sounds really out there before you have it. It actually just is very agreeable to most people. And I like highlighting fennel in salad similarly because fennel has a reputation for being a really intense flavor. You usually have fennel as the seed, which is a really intense flavor, and it can be great. But if you don't like that flavor, it's just a lot. So the bulb of the fennel is a much gentler flavor and it's a lot sweeter. And I think it's a good way to get people to try fennel who might sort of be afraid of it. Don't need to be afraid.
Do you consider this a spring salad? Is fennel spring?
With the fennel, yeah, but I usually make this without. I usually would just do this with citrus, which you can get all year round, and a lot of citrus is better in the winter. So it's a fun salad to do anytime. I like the juicy, hydrating fruit for the warmer weather, but I also like being able to make a salad that's seasonal in the winter time. So I left these whole. Okay. Because these are big mandarins called sumo citrus, and they're my favorite. I wanted you to be able to see what they look like because they are the best citrus that exists, and we're nearing the end of their season right now. So if you haven't had one, I would go run out and eat some right now because so what I'm not going to do is fuss over this too much. So mandarin oranges, no matter what size they are, they come apart just with your hands. And I encourage you, just tear them apart the way you normally would, because this is one more shape and texture that we're going to get in our salad. And to me, that's part of the point. So it's not all about fussing, fancy cuts and doing things that people don't recognize. I think it's about the variation.
So I've noticed that your knife is really sharp.
It is.
You keep it sharp yourself. Do you do that?
Yeah.
If you do, how do you do it?
Well, it is a bit of an art that requires some practice, but I bought some sharpening stones. There are some, many affordable ones that work just fine. And I just sharpen them probably once a week or when they feel like they need it. Sharpening knives is a pretty intimidating thing to take on for the first time, but what got me to do it is I bought the stones and I was too scared to use it on my nice knives until my nice knives wouldn't cut anything, and I knew I can't make it worse. So, why not try? So if you have a knife that you couldn't make worse, I say buy a cheap stone and just start practicing, because actually it's pretty intuitive. It is.
So a rectangular
Yeah.
stone.
Yeah. And there are different kinds. There are some that you soak in oil or water. But I really like a style of stone called splash and go. And you just take some water and you trickle it on there, and then you just start using it. And normally, most of the time, you keep it dry. But it's a lot more convenient than the soaking stones. But it's all personal preference. What I wouldn't recommend is those pull-through sharpeners. There's like some hand tools. Sometimes they can work okay, but they also take a lot of metal off of a knife. So if you have a nice knife, you're just shortening the lifespan of it a lot when you use one of those, which, it might be worth it. Especially if you have like a $6 knife, then I wouldn't worry about it. But if you have a nice knife that you want to take care of for a long time.
Drop them there, okay, you come back 20 minutes.
Oh, I'm as somebody who is pretty protective of his knives, I'm a little skeptical until I see what they do, because I've seen people offer knife sharpening services that were not very good, and maybe did like more harm than good. So, yeah, if it seems like if you can find somebody reliable and when they give your knife back, it feels great, then yeah, trust them. But if somebody charges you money to sharpen your knife and it doesn't feel sharp when you get it back, don't go back to them, because it's not your fault. You're not doing something wrong. They did something wrong.
How long would you say it takes you per knife when you do it yourself?
Sharpening, well, okay, so I use my knives a lot, like 8 hours plus a day. I'm chopping things every single day. So I would say if I sharpen them once a week, it takes 5 minutes per knife. So for a household knife, most people recommend you sharpen once every 6 months, and it would probably, once you got it down, probably take no more than 10 minutes. But it might take, I've also practiced a lot. So give yourself a half an hour to, mess it up a little bit before you fall into a rhythm. But it's not a big investment. And learning, you could buy a thrift store knife and just really mess it up really badly before you sort of figure out how to use it right. But I would say it's a worthwhile investment, because nothing makes me not want to cook like not having a sharp knife. But that was a lot of negatives. Nothing makes me want to cook more than having a sharp knife. So if I don't have a sharp knife, I don't want to cook. Oh yeah. Yeah. Don't keep knives in drawers. They bang up against things, and the metal just it's sturdy, but that's how the most damage gets done to knives. I sharpen knives for my friends sometimes, and every time they come to me with something that is just, nightmare fuel, I ask what happened to it, and they're just like, oh, it's just been rattling around in a drawer. And it's like, why am I even sharpening this thing? I have magnetic strips in our restaurant. Yeah. Well, actually at home, I also have a magnetic strip.
He also, to take it here, he just had it wrapped in a towel several times over. So you could keep it in a drawer if you had it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Then they sell edge guards, little plastic things you sort of slice the knife into. That's fine. Also, I wouldn't judge you for keeping it in a drawer with those things. The theme of this meal was supposed to be that you don't need to fuss over things, and now I'm spending a long time telling you to fuss over your knives. So buy an edge guard, beat it up. It'll be fine. It's a tool. All right. So we're on to our last orange.
So altogether this time you used one shallot and one fennel and how many oranges now?
Oh gosh, I wasn't counting, but probably with 8. And then I got a couple of mandarins that I did it beforehand because it's not very interesting to watch me peel mandarins. Um, so, but you know, this is for many people to have at least a small taste of what we're doing. But I would say, however many oranges, maybe one piece of citrus per person is a good rule. And you don't need to do a bunch of different kinds. I've done it all with blood oranges before, and it's awesome. We had one on our menu last season that was just navel oranges and as the citrus, and it was great. So, all right, I'm just gonna dump it all in there. We're just gonna have a really fruity salad. Okay, so now we have a ton of citrus in our softening fennel and shallot. This will be absolutely ready to go at this point. So I'm gonna mix the fat in, and I want to say it again, just because this is just a guideline, but I want to say again, 3-to-1 is the acid to fat ratio. So if you were to use 1 tablespoon of acid, you'd want to start with 3 tablespoons of oil. It doesn't need to be olive oil. We have organic extra virgin olive oil today because it tastes the best, especially with oranges. And this is an olive flavored dish anyway. So I'm just going to sort of do it visually, but it's not set in stone, the ratio of 3-to-1, but that is the typical vinaigrette ratio. So it's good to hang on to. And you can alter that. Maybe you like a more sour salad, or maybe you're using a vinegar that is really gentle, so you want to add a little more, or the opposite, you have something really intense and you just really want that olive oil flavor instead. That's fine. Change it how you like it. But
Did you salt in there though with the lemon juice?
yeah. Because you want that to dissolve a little bit. And like I said, you can season it at the end, that's fine, but it just tends to be a little more.
About how much salt?
Yeah.
Just
How
to
much salt?
taste how much.
Well, this I would just put a pinch of salt in there. Yeah, not enough to make it salty. You just want to sort of, yeah.
Would your head explode if someone told you they didn't want to use oil?
No. I mean, what's great about this dish is oranges are great, right? Olives are great. I think you definitely don't need to. I'm coming from a restaurant perspective where we're trying to like maximize deliciousness in everything we do. But if you have a reason that you don't want to use oil, you could still make this. Absolutely. There would be nothing stopping you. Okay, so we have sort of our dressed shaved vegetables, and now we've dressed our oranges. So now we're going to put in some greens. Today we have this little gem romaine that I already washed and rinsed. Little gem romaine is great because it has such a cute little shape, and it just tastes exactly like romaine lettuce. You know, it's just a prettier variety that usually doesn't cost any more. It's just smaller. It's a little petite and cute. We've done this with everything from really bitter chicories to really soft and mild lettuces like this. The lettuce really plays a supporting role in this salad for me. If you wanted to add more, I totally encourage you to do that. But I think that this is about everything but the greens, but it's still nice to have a little bit of that refreshing crunch in with the sweet and the sour and the fatty.
You just cut these.
Yeah, they come in little heads that are a lot like romaine. We cut the ends off so we can pull apart the leaves and sort of soak them, because the way they grow out of the ground, like much lettuce, you can trap a lot of dirt in there. So I wouldn't. Some vegetables, if you look at them, you can kind of tell if they're dirty. These ones, I guarantee they're going to have a bunch of dust trapped inside of them. So it's a good idea to give them a brief rinse after you separate the leaves, and then you want to go the extra mile and give them a little spin in a salad spinner or dry them with paper towels. That will just help the dressing sort of stick on there. Okay, there was a really cute serving platter that's in the shape of a leaf down there. Would you pull it out for me? Yeah, they're gonna go on at the end. Yeah. Couldn't ask for a better vessel to serve a salad in.
Corey, when you mentioned last time
you talked about how you held the knife, because you mentioned 8 hours a day, and you showed us that way that you held.
Yeah, yeah, I love talking about knives. I'm so glad that we're talking about knives at this cooking demo because really the better you know how to use a knife, it feels so much, it's so liberating to go in a kitchen knowing that that is not part of what you need to think about what you're doing. So getting practice holding a knife appropriately for the task at hand in a way that's not going to hurt not only your fingertips or something, but also your wrist over time. Or if you already have wrist pain, I do from so much chopping over the years. So I'm really aware of how I'm using my knife and where I'm putting the strain. So let me just get this into the bowl and we can do a little bit of talking about. All right. So again, this salad, especially if you want to share it with other people, which this salad really should be shared with other people. Yeah, I mean, you deserve it also. If you're craving this salad, you deserve it. You should make it for just yourself. But you should also show off to your friends with this salad. Because, yeah, they won't believe you that olives taste good with oranges until they do it. Yeah, so again, I don't want to fuss over it too much, but there is so much like good, pretty stuff in this dish, so we might as well spend a little bit of time making it look cute. And okay, so we've talked about the citrus, we've talked about the greens, we've talked about the other ingredients that go in. Now let's talk about the olives. Oh, yeah, I really am, yeah. So while I encourage you to use any greens, any citrus, the olives you use, I would be a little more careful about. Olives can have such intense flavors that it can sort of drown out everything else you have going on. So we're using Castelvetrano olives. That's what I've always used for this salad. Something like a Kalamata olive, I love it. It's delicious, but you're not going to taste anything else in the salad unless you're really careful. If you're determined, report back to me. Maybe you can figure something out that I haven't yet. But I don't think they look very nice. I got some pitted ones, so you didn't have to watch me pit olives for a really long time. But I don't think they look really nice. You know, this is an obviously machine pitted olive. So so that we don't get a mouthful of just olive, and also so it doesn't look quite like this, I'm just going to take the side of my knife and sort of smush them down. So we can sort of break down the olive into the salad, and you can get, your bites will be nicer, but also your olives just look nicer. And, you know, you could just use your hand. If I had a bigger knife, I would be using my knife, but I chose a nice, cute little knife for this task. But really, the point is, you know, just it doesn't really matter how you do it. It should be easy. It should.
Say olive with kind and olives are those.
These are Castelvetranos, yeah, but I think any green olive would work really well.
Castelvetrano.
Castelvetrano, yeah.
You're really rolling through it.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Castelvetrano. Okay, so we're gonna put the olives nice in front and center where nobody can hide from them. They're gonna be forced to try them.
Where do you find those olives?
You could definitely get them at any grocery store that specializes in
Any grocery
nicer
store that
stuff.
has more than one type of olive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get them in bulk, but you can usually find them in the jar also. They're just, usually there will be like standard green olives, and then there will be one other kind of green olive, and that'll be Castelvetranos. Yeah. And the mashing them, if you don't have pitted olives, which is fine, I would just take the back of a saute pan or something, and if you just sort of lay them all flat, sort of push down on it, you'll smush them down and you can just pick the pits out of them, and then you have your crushed olives that way too. So you don't need to buy the pitted ones. I did because I wanted it to be easy. Okay, so we've gotten this far. Now let's go back and pick out some of our cuter fennel fronds. And what I don't want to do is, the stem can be a little tough. It's not the end of the world kind of tough, but I want to pick off any of the thick parts of stem because this is really just a nice little garnish that's already built into the food. And why waste it? Because it tastes so good. It tastes just like the fennel, but this is like the most delicate portion of the fennel, flavor-wise and texture-wise. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I didn't measure anything. I didn't prepare anything in advance. I did forget one thing that we're going to be putting on there, which is the pistachios. I think that this, I like to think in terms of flavor affinity. So if you know about mirepoix, carrots, celery, and onions, that's a flavor affinity that's the foundation of a lot of cooking in the French tradition and the Italian tradition. A Mediterranean sort of flavor affinity that's a little less usual is the pistachio, orange, and olive. Those things go so beautifully together. So this was sort of a last minute addition in my mind, but I think it really rounds out the dish and adds just like a little more luxury to it. So if it is something you want to share with other people, I think anybody who went to the trouble of buying pistachios for me, I'm already so happy that they would do that for me.
Are they roasted?
They are, yeah, but they don't need to be. I kind of like pistachios either way, raw or roasted. And these are really gently roasted. I put them in the oven for 5 minutes, maybe. They didn't even really start to change colors. When I looked at them, they got a little shiny because the oil started coming out of the nut. And that's when I take it as a sign that they're ready. All right. So, as I was saying, we didn't measure anything. Nothing was prepared in advance. This was just sort of a take out your knife, maybe put on some gloves because I really don't like sticky things on my hands. You didn't need to do that, but yeah, just a few minutes of work when you know how to do it, you can have a really nice little salad. So I want to come back to the knife comment before we move on to trying the salad, though salads don't sit great, so I don't want to take too long. When you're holding a knife, it's can be tempting to hold like a hammer, just put this in your fist. There are plenty of people who use it that way, but it does put strain on a funny part of your wrist over time if you use a knife as much as I do. So the way that we do it professionally is we wrap our finger around the back of it and we pinch it. So that's what the back of my hand looks like. That's what the front of my hand looks like. So I'm pinching the back of the knife. And so where the knife is pushing into my hand is right here. So I'm pushing with the back of my hand when I'm chopping things. This gives me a lot more control over it. It'll feel funny when you first start doing it, but overall, eventually, you're going to find that you have a lot more control and it is much more comfortable on your wrist. I'll show this side also since I didn't get you guys. So I'm pinching the back of the blade right there. One more detail that I was recently just running into with some of our employees is they were complaining about wrist pain. And I realized the way they were cutting things, if we were dicing the shallot, we're going like this. And maybe I'm just going to stop where I am now. You can see that this is really cramped and I'm twisting my wrist to try to keep these lines straight. The human brain, we really like to this, okay, straight lines on this cutting board. I have this straight parallel with these lines. So I'm going to make these straight lines like this. But what's a lot more natural to our bodies is more like a 45-degree angle. Because now if I'm cutting like this, you can see I'm not squishing, I'm not twisting my wrists, I'm not squishing my body together nearly as much. So think in those terms of the 45-degree angle is a helpful thing to remember, but I would more take it as one sort of note to give yourself checking in with your body when you're using a knife. It really can ruin the experience of cooking food if you hurt your wrist. And, not just being aware of your fingertips, which absolutely do be aware of your fingertips, but be aware of your whole body because it doesn't need to be uncomfortable. If it's uncomfortable, you're doing something wrong and you should stop.
You mentioned something about advanced prep. You said that salads don't sit great, but we're also talking about potlucks. Is there a way that you could prep maybe some of these components in advance? And if so, how much in advance?
Yeah, so everything but putting the greens in could have been done 2 days ago. The citrus will sit fine. The shallots and the fennel, all fine. You can make the vinaigrette and have it on the side. All of that is fine. Just the greens will get wilty within an hour. So I would say, if you're going to an event, wait until you get there to put it in the box and shake it all up or however you're going to serve it. Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, good question, Miranda. It's just full of them. All right, so if anyone would like to come up and try some, I'm going to sort of refill as we're going because we do have more than just what's in that bowl. Oh, nice. I've got gloved hands. I think if no one's opposed to that, I'll just leave the gloves on. Thank you.
Full of salad.
Working at the line at various restaurants, sometimes if you need a snack, you just like take one leaf and put everything in the leaf and roll it up and eat it. I thought about trying to serve it that way tonight, but I felt like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I try to pretty lightly season this. Do we have some more salt in case anybody wants some? I think you won't need it, but
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Yeah, thank you.
No, the last time you were here, you cut a carrot. I've been trying to do it the same way ever since. It's not good.
Oh my gosh, I wish I had brought a carrot to do it.
That's a beautiful one.
It's not ours. It was just down here. Belongs to the church, I think. But yeah, it was very handy. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Did you get enough of everything in there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I am just getting one for my husband.
Okay.
Are you gonna share a recipe or is that?
I didn't print a recipe today because it is
No.
okay. Yeah, I can try to give Trish a list of ingredients at least so you can refer back to that. Make sure you don't miss anything that we did today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A little more lettuce.
I
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. A little bit of everything in these.
You have blood orange?
Yeah.
Yeah, and now, of course, it's more like. Mother. Your house, wedges, so you kind of need to chance.
Yeah, it looks like I have a lot here. So please, if anybody would like some more, please come get it. Oh, I keep doing that. It's hard to tell with the gloves on.
I was gonna tell you too, down to Scotland, my dad, just get my couple of that.
Oh, yeah, nice. Oh, thanks, Trish. I gave up.
Back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for showing up today. Also, that was so nice. It's great to see some familiar faces. I didn't. I felt like I needed one today. You know, I don't need a full-time fan club, but this morning I feel like I needed one. Yeah.
Did anyone need one?
I'm gonna give you some more olive. Yeah. Put some whole ones on there, so I don't have to take up time brushing them up. Miranda, you want? Oh,
I'll take that.
Yeah, great. That's a good sign. It's a good
So you
sign.
have to find some olives.
Oh.
Some olives and.
Let me get you some more olive.
Straight from the source.
You just. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. That's a good sign also that everybody wants more olive. That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Some more for you?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, let me give you some more. At least one little piece of pistachio. A little something on there.
Now, I know as a chef, you would probably never do this, but if you have some of your oranges that are on the dehydrated side, would they still work with this because of all of the juices and stuff that it would actually hydrate them?
Yeah, you might. They probably still won't be fully revived to a fresh juicy orange, but yeah, as long as it's not too far past its prime. Totally, great use for it.
All my kids are working, they look at the outside and they're like, I'm not touching that, and then I'm like, oh, they get it.
Yeah,
Bad, it'll taste bad, it'll look bad.
You'll know,
it'll smell
yeah.
bad, or whatever, but most of the time, what happens, they get it actually more like what is.
Yeah.
Concentrated instead of sweeter.
yeah. There's a reason they took them on ships back in the day. Citrus will last a really long time stored in the right conditions.
Did you get yours?
I did.
Okay.
It's really good.
So.
That's so great to hear. Thank you. I love having an open-minded audience that'll try, a little less typical. A little more olive for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another round. You're welcome. Let me get you some more olives.
I do. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, thank you.
How did you pronounce it all again?
Pastel, almost like castle.
Okay.
It's Castel Vetrano.
I'm trying.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I'll try to get you guys a list of the ingredients so that nobody has to forget it.
That was really good.
Good, I'm glad. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, well, I think you guys have some other stuff going on too, so I'll get cleaned up and get out of the way here.
You were good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Well, it's always fun to come share what I know. I appreciate having an attentive audience that's excited about the things that I'm excited about. So thanks again for having us.
Yeah.
Again.
And it was really fun having you watch, having so much fun.
Good.
Are you gonna wrap that?
You mentioned your open hours.
Yeah, so the Acorn Cafe where we work, our hours there are 10 to 3 from Wednesday to Sunday. We also do dinners on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 5 to 9.
I have a link to on the livelifestylemedicine.com website under community partners. They're there.
All right, so my parting piece of advice, Miranda just asked me, how are we going to wrap this knife up? So I'll show you a kitchen towel. If you don't have something more solid, a kitchen towel just sort of wrapped around the blade. And then some nice thick rubber bands that are totally available to me. I got these ones off of asparagus. My favorite rubber bands come from asparagus. And I'm just gonna wrap it really tight. If you have a bigger knife, you wanna make sure you fold over the blade. And obviously this isn't foolproof, so still be careful, but this is a pretty good way to transport a knife. All right, thanks again, everybody. Yeah, my pleasure.
So they come in and they're gone. That was really good, yes?
Yeah.
Any questions from anybody as we want to kind of share? Yes,
I
Cindy.
just wanted to say I really appreciated the requesting out the oil.
Oh, did you?
That was-
I had to say something, and yeah, there was a fair amount of oil, but the olives were really good.
Yeah.
And olives are whole foods and they've got a lot of fiber. And some of you may have been a little uncomfortable about wasting some of the food. I was going to ask them, but I thought I would wait until afterward and say, for those souls of you who say, wait a second, I don't want to waste that. You could put that into your blender, even though it's a little bitter, and add a date or two. Sweeten it up, and you could do a little smoothie with that excess rather than dumping it in the trash. Less food waste, yes? Okay, I'm sure some of you had that thought process, like, wait a second here. But when when you're serving to the public and you want the supreme bean taste, we get it. Okay?
Fortunately, that's one of the negative downside.
Are there any other thoughts or suggestions from anybody as we go on from here? Anybody else have anything that you're excited about? One thing is, a lot of people we notice don't really get enough greens in their life. I spend a lot of my time focusing on, I tell people I eat 3 handfuls of greens a day. They look at me like, are you from the moon? Brought back on the space. And I'm just trying to encourage them to do 1 handful, and so this kind of salad prep would encourage you to do at least 1. If you could have something this tasty. Yeah. Anything else? Yes.
To increase the greens. in
What's
general.
that?
To increase the greens in general. The one reason I have started watching Asian shows forever and ever, and just in the regular, shows, they do a lot of like lettuce wraps.
Yeah.
So they stick everything in the lettuce, wrap it up and eat it like that.
It's an excellent idea. Collard greens work well for that, and so does kale, but collard greens especially are big leaf. Debbie, you get to take off. Are you ready yet?
Not quite,
Not quite. So we have time for one more or 2 more questions until what's. I'm just scanning the room. Yes, Jerry.
The leftovers you were gonna put in a smoothie.
Oh, the leftover would be, when he was slicing up the grapefruit and the oranges, there was that pulp, and there was some of the orange and the grapefruit left over. Not a major amount, but there was some.
Next week's class is nutritional myths, Charlie and I do. Nutritional myths uncovered.
Okay.
Handout, no PowerPoint, just I'm gonna have a handout, list of nutritional myths, and we'll see if we pick which one and see if we can get the book.
It's a very fun session. Oh, okay. Thank you.
So just before I start, I think anybody else that knows Tamara Wilhite, if you want to sign a card, okay. So this is, her dad, is in the hospital, long recovery ahead, so Tamara's gonna be away from us for a while. So we're just sending her a card, and if you know her, go ahead and sign it. Thank you.
If anyone doesn't know, we have Dr. Clapper coming May 4th, that's a Monday night, I have flyers here, and Vegan Fest, May 3rd, Sunday, all day.
I'll just want to take 5.
Anyone else need flyers?
And this is Dr. Clapper's new book, if anybody wants to take a look, now or later. So I'm talking about food labels. So I'm not doing the same thing that I've done before where everybody, like where I hand out labels and we do a little activity with that. Instead, I decided to focus on food additives and comparing 3 different of the same item, which you'll get to figure out the item in a minute or in a couple of minutes. So I first want to talk about, everybody know Will Boltzovitz, Dr. B. Anybody not know Dr. B, Dr. Boltzovitz? What's his first one?
Fiber fueled.
Fiber fueled. So this is his latest book, Plant Powered Plus, and he's a gastroenterologist. So he talks a lot about gut health. That's his big thing, is gut health and the microbiome. So when I was figuring out what I was going to do today, I sort of came up with a combination of things, and I wanted to start with his book. And in this book, he's got a section on food additives. So the first little thing, and since we're not with the slides, I got this, Trish had this tripod for me, so I'm just gonna take things down. And the first thing I'm gonna start with is grass. And in terms of food additives, does anybody know what this acronym means? Before I show what it means, has anybody heard of this acronym? Not you guys either? Okay, so it's generally recognized as safe. And it's what our United States has chosen to designate different kinds of foods. And it was started in 1958, and it was an amendment to the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. So it was, according to Will, and I'm going to read some from his book, the GRAS loophole began in 1958 with an amendment to the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act to make it easier for common ingredients like flour, salt, and vinegar to get approved as long as a group of experts felt they were safe. So this is back a long, many decades ago. Perhaps the impact of this amendment in the future wasn't clear in 1958, nor was it the intent of the law, but it ended up creating the opportunity for exploitation because the food industry could introduce any and all ingredients as GRAS with essentially no oversight. So here's what it looks like. Limited or no feeding studies. So nearly 80% of approved chemicals lack human or animal model feeding studies to demonstrate safety. Think about that. Think about pharmaceutical drugs. We have to go through 4 phases of drug development and spend millions on huge trials before. What's that?
It's almost bad for you.
Yeah. But food additives get quick and painless approval through this expert saying, oh, generally recognized as safe. And even the acronym GRAS sounds green and healthy or something. And then short-term data predominates. When human safety data do exist, they're generally short-term. So what happens long-term, we don't know. No microbiome testing requirement. Although modern science can assess how additives affect our gut microbes, the FDA does not mandate microbiome testing for additives. Yes, microbiome testing is a new technology, but we don't want our regulatory bodies stuck in the 1970s, do we? And then lack of systematic reevaluation. Once an additive is deemed as GRAS, there's no formal mechanism that regularly revisits the old decisions. So if an additive was approved 50 years ago, it might never be reevaluated, even if new data emerges. Once a new additive is approved, there's no requirement for the food industry to conduct further safety research or monitoring, meaning any long-term risks may go undetected. And there's scarce independent funding. So even if universities want to study this, there's no grant money sent their way to do so. So with minimal public, industry, or government investment in food additive safety, relatively few experts can explore potential harms. This funding gap perpetuates our knowledge deficit. So if there's no money in food safety research, there is tons of money working for big food. So where do you think the jobs exist? Where do the experts make their money? And where do you think loyalty exists? As I often tell my kids, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. So he talks about on a systemic level, GRAS approval is like a river running down the mountain. And it's just getting faster and faster. And it's hard to push back and say, hang on, wait a minute. What are all these additives doing to us? Why my voice is going on. Okay, so how many additives do you think we have in our food system now?
Thousands.
Yeah, about 10,000 food additives we have. And that's since the beginning. And how many do you think we've backed off on and said, okay, maybe we shouldn't do this? Of those 10,000. 35. And since 1982, how many do you think? So for decades now, just 8 have been pulled. Now, what about other countries in the world, other industrialized countries in the world? Do you think they might have pulled back a little bit on more of these than us? Yes, yes, they haven't. So if you look, you have an additive in our country, in our food, check out, does the EU still approve this, or have they ever approved it? And it's not just the food, it's pharmaceutical and cosmetics. Well, the food, I mean, the things I have to. My nose. Okay, so that's what that is. So that's very interesting to me. And he talked about a few studies that they've done, and they have done some microbiome testing, but it's very difficult to pinpoint one food additive. It could be a combination of 25 in a food that's messing, and they have shown that it is messing with our microbiomes, and it's creating the bad bugs growing in our systems. And we know autoimmune diseases are sort of rampant these days, and colon cancer, even in young people, is on the rise. So there's a lot going on in our food system. So he calls this a horror novel in one paragraph. Eat your heart out, Stephen King. So we're going to play a little game. I will list the ingredients in a commonly used product, and you will guess what it is as you read forward, or I read out loud to you line by line. So what do you think this is? Here goes. Non-fat milk, lactose, vegetable oil, parentheses, palm olein, coconut, soy, and high oleic sunflower oils, close parentheses, whey protein concentrate, galacto-oligosaccharides, polydextrose, mortierelli alpina oil, crypthiconidinium conil oil, calcium carbonate, potassium citrate, ferrous sulfate, potassium chlorate. Anybody have any ideas yet? What's that?
Butter.
Coffee creamer.
I was gonna say
magnesium oxide, sodium chloride, zinc sulfate, cupric sulfate, manganese sulfate, potassium iodide, sodium selenate, soy lecithin, choline chloride, ascorbic acid, niacinamide, calcium panthenate, vitamin A, palamate, vitamin B, vitamin D, riboflavin, thiamine, thiamine, hydrochloride, vitamin B, hydrochloride, folic acid, vitamin B. Oh, it just goes on and on. Monophosphate 5. There's several more. What is it? This is the #1 selling infant formula in the United States. Need I say more? No. So it's really interesting. It's these are our littles that this is happening to. So I was really interested in that, and I got this book from the library, so it's available in the library, and I recommend it. So let me think, I kind of remember what's behind these things. So just we're going to go on with the food things, but just a reminder of macronutrients and how many calories are in. Does everybody know this information? Our carbohydrate, protein, and fat calories per gram is 4 calories per carbohydrates and protein, and 9 per fat. Okay, because we're going to be using that information when we figure out the percent of fat, the percent of the calories from fat in a food item that we're going to take a look at. Oh, so this is, let me see if I want to, no, I don't want to show you that one yet because it will reveal something. I don't want to show you that one yet. We're going to go to here. So we're gonna look at these. Can you guys see these? Should I bring it around? It'll be easier. I think it might be easier. Because I want you guys to take a look at these things. Wish this would do it more. There we go. Got it. Okay, so we'll go this. And Charlie, let's see, what are you doing?
That's all right.
Okay, so I want everybody to take a look at those ingredients.
Oh,
So-
you need to get around.
So these are all the same items. So these are the ingredients in one brand, this is the ingredients in second brand, and these are the ingredients in a third brand. So, and you guess what that item of food is? It said pizza dough. Pizza dough. Okay. So it's a little more than pizza dough. Pizza, yeah, pizza. And specifically frozen pizza. Okay, so if we talk about number of ingredients for, let me see. So lots of times we talk about the fewer ingredients, the better. So there's quite the list here, and then it's a little smaller, and then it's the smallest. And we also talk about, can we even pronounce what it is? Do we have any idea what it is? So, just to go over these, let me think. Do you see any in this that you don't know what it is?
Fourth line down, of course, I can't even read it very well, but mechanically.
Yeah, okay, mechanically separated chicken. And you know what that is? I listened to a podcast. It is chicken on the bone that gets mushed under high pressure through some kind of sieve. So the bone pieces are left behind, and it's just the floppy chicken. And he said sometimes it's called white slime. So that is what's in this pizza. Anything else? I have no idea what oleo resin of paprika is. Anybody know?
Some fat.
Uh-huh.
Let's say BHA.
Yeah, okay, that's a good one. BHA and BHT. I was hoping somebody would point those out. So those are long chemical names, and they seem sort of benign, like just BHA and BHT. These both are used in food, pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, and in our country, they are still allowed. And in the European Union, I can't remember which one is not allowed anymore, but other countries, except for China, have more stringent rules on these and have backed off, and they're not good for the environment, but we're still using these. And so it's quite interesting. And
what's dextrose?
sugar, yeah, that's a sugar, yep. And then datum, that is some dough conditioner, kind of like ascorbic acid. They say it's a dough conditioner. I looked that one up, and it's supposed to be grass. It seems like it's not too bad. But so that's the pizza that you get, the frozen pizza that we're gonna look at the food label in just a moment. So how about this one? What do you think of this one? Say it again.
Organic vegan mozzarella style cheese.
Okay, so what's in that? Filtered water, organic potato starch, organic coconut oil. I don't really want that in my pizza, but not horrible. I mean, we kind of recognize things here. What's natural flavoring?
It should be good right now. It's flavoring, yeah.
Yeah, they can just say that, and that's like their secret recipe or something, and they're. So I've heard this happens to be vegan, but I've heard really weird things for what natural flavoring could be, like beaver or something.
Oh, bigger plans.
Yeah, beaver land, it's, and they don't have to.
I think like anything that is raspberry flavoring comes from a beaver land of some sort.
Yeah, like you really have to do your homework to make sure you're getting what you think you're getting or what you want to be getting. So that's that. Quite a few ingredients, but lots of organic things, and this doesn't trouble me too much. Does it trouble you for reasons that I'm not seeing, or anybody? Okay, how about
Like you said, the cheese, that is not cheese. It's like, okay, then what actually is?
yeah.
What did they call it? Say it, I can't.
Organic potato starch, organic coconut oil, sea salt, organic ground sunflower kernels, natural flavoring, fruit and vegetable concentrate, carrot, pumpkin, and apple, organic. So there is quite a bit of different kinds of oil in here, and you'll see how that impacts the food label in a moment.
Why do they list sea salt? Why?
Let's see, because I think it's sea salt, and then is it inside?
Last line, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so they could be showing us the crust first and then the,
I think it's in the cheese.
oh, it's in the parentheses of this, yeah, it's in the parentheses, right, okay. And this you'll see repeated because this one for sure labels the crust first and then the sauce, so. This is the only one that mentions a whole grain, whole wheat flour versus just unbleached flour or enriched wheat flour. So just to point out, when they're doing this in a huge factory, they take away all the good stuff and then they're forced to, by our government, to replace some of those vitamins, and then they're just separated and process themselves. So, okay, so how about this last one? Xanthan gum, yeah, so what about xanthan gum? Remember, yeah.
It's a thickener.
Yeah, it's a thickener, and I can't remember. It didn't raise red flags for me, but I did not look this one up, so does anybody have more information? Let's see.
Either xanthan or guar is, I think, a root, kind of like tapioca is like, yeah, I think it's along those lines, you know.
Okay, I'm not somebody on it right now.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, frozen pizza. All right, so let's look at the food label.
How does one dehydrate maple syrup?
That is a good question. I guess it's like maple candy. You get maple candy.
Like cooking maple syrup.
And you'll see, even though it mentions it twice in the crust and the tomato sauce, you'll see that it's negligible for added sugar. It's kind of interesting. So really finding out.
You can actually get it from Bob's Red now in its own bag. It says it's a white, odorless, and tasteless powder derived from a polysaccharide produced by bacterium xanthum. Okay, it's just good. I think some of you here, we're gonna have to read that as well. Let's see. Oh, it says that it's a thickening property. It is for thickening and yeah. Anyway, you have to read it. I can't.
Okay, thank you.
We'll pronounce
Next time, that'll be.
Well, it was discovered in the late 1950s.
How is that?
So it probably got the grass approval.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the I don't know who the, experts are that do this, but, so now this is not all of the food label, but part of the food label. So we have DiGiorno's Rising Crust Ultimate Pepperoni Pizza, and I do. So you guys know that pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they say it's, their tagline is it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Yeah.
I never heard of it before, but I went to the store and looked at in the frozen food. So the serving size is 1/5 of a pizza. And then
It's just like ones that you just showed us the ingredients from.
yes, yep. So this was the one with that special white slime. And this is Amy's vegan margarita pizza. And then this is the Plant Strong Pizza Kit. So that's Rip Esselstyn's company.
It's actually good.
And it's just the pizza kit itself, so you you just get the crust and the tomato sauce, so this does not include any toppings, so you put the toppings on yourself. Okay, so 1/5 of pizza, about 140 grams, and if we think, how many pounds of food do most people typically eat in a day? About 3 to 5. Yeah, 3 to 5 pounds, 3 to 5 pounds. So, and how many grams in 1 pound?
454.
Yeah, 454. So that's not really much for, so again, and if you look, let's see, was it this one? No, it wasn't this one, but so I'm certainly gonna have more than one piece of pizza, I'm sure, if I have this pizza. And then Amy's is 1/3 of the pizza, but that's only 128 grams. And if it was very interesting, because on the picture, you see a pizza cut into 8 slices. So you think, oh, I'm gonna be able to feed a lot of people, but the serving size is actually 1/3. So it's really interesting. And then the Plant Strong Pizza Kit, this was really interesting. 1/5 of the pizza, that's only 50 grams. But I was looking it up on my computer and in my freezer because I have some that I bought and I haven't ever tried it, and I tried one. Okay, I've had them in there a while. I need to use them, give them away. But the ones in my freezer say 1/4 of the pizza, and 2 different places I looked online. One label said 1/6 of the pizza. And one label said, I think this is the most current, so I bet you Plant Strong and Rick was just trying to figure out, it's a pretty new business that they have of selling food online and in the grocery store. So that's that. That's very interesting to look at. Calories per serving. So for that, 330, if I'm gonna eat 2 pieces, that easily goes right up to 660. 300 for 1/3. Again, I'm gonna eat at least 2 there. And this is so small, I'd probably eat 3 pieces. And it would still be less than these guys. So.
But that's only the crust, the others include the toppings.
Yeah, and I'm gonna talk about toppings in a minute, because you can put delicious vegetables that are nutrient dense, but not calorie dense. So in fact, I'd like to bump up the calories for this choice, because I want to make sure I'm full and satisfied, and it's only 130. So total fat and saturated fat, 13 grams and 6 grams, 15 grams, 4.5, 0.5, and 0. So a big difference. And well, let's just keep on going, and then we're going to calculate what percent of a piece of pizza calories are made from fat. So actually, we could do that right now. So if it's total fat 13 grams, and there's 330 calories. So what would we have to do? So we're gonna, to get the amount of calories per fat, we're gonna do 13 multiplied by 9, right? 'Cause there's, okay, so that gives us 117. And then we're gonna do 117 divided by 330. We're gonna do the part divided by the whole, and then multiply by 100 to get the percentage. Okay, so 117 divided by 330 equals 35 times 100. So it's 35% of and what's the recommended amount of fat that we want? What percent of fat do we want? 10 to 15 to maybe even up to 20, but 35 is packing it.
That's for one.
Yeah, that's for one. Yeah. And it would always be 35%. It would always be 35% of each piece. So, and then 15 of 300, that would be even more. Because so that would probably be more like 40%. And this would be pretty negligible, but we do need fat. So I don't know, does that ring any like not good bells for you that there's no fat or?
Well, you're gonna put foods on there that do have some fat, like beans or potatoes or, you know, olives, yeah.
Okay, so that's, and then the cholesterol, of course, the 2 vegan pizzas. Well, you can put whatever toppings you want, but Plant Strong is, if you're gonna get that, you're probably vegan, so. So no cholesterol there, 25 milligrams there. So now what about this sodium? Oh my God. So what's the rule of thumb for sodium?
1 to 1.
1,200 a day. 1 to 1, yeah, and actually it's 2,400, 2,500.
2,300, but 1,500 if you want to do most.
Yeah, heart isn't either, we don't have issues, but 1 to 1 between what?
Calories and sodium.
Calories and sodium, okay, so 780 and 300, so more than double the amount, that's a heaping amount of sodium in one little piece of pizza, you know, so about 590 and 300, again, about double, just a little bit less than double, so again, packing a lot of sodium in there. So here we do have a nice 1 to 1 ratio, and I'm sure Rip is. Do you guys know Rip Esselstyn and Dr. Esselstyn? Does anybody not know the Esselstyn family? So the Esselstyn family, Dr. Caldwell B. Esselstyn is one of the old goats or whatever you call it. He's the one that, along with Ornish, right, that showed you can reverse heart disease. He is in his 90s now. He still talks to patients, consults with patients, helps them reverse their heart disease and unclog their arteries. So his whole family, his wife is a trip and a half. She's in in her 90s too, and she just won the Guinness. She's in the Guinness World Book of Records for being able to hang from a pole, and she just did. She they live in Maryland, and she just pulls tires, and she's amazing. The whole family is amazing, and Rip is their firefighter son. Used to be a firefighter, and he had helped change the culture in firehouses because they have to be really strong and fit to do everything they do, and they were not. I mean, they were eating, as you can imagine, in a firehouse, steaks and French fries, and so he helped change the culture. And he has a podcast called Plant Strong, which is wonderful. And so I think when they have a family reunion, there's something like 35 of them. They're all vegan, all whole food, plant-based, and they're very fun to watch and learn about. So then fiber, 2 grams, 2 grams, and 4 grams. That's not much to me. I want a much more robust fiber picture to slow absorption down, maximum satiety, and so so this one, 4 grams, I would double, I mean, I would eat 3 pieces and I would have 12 grams here. I mean, that's one thought. So you can play with how you might bump up your fiber, but I'm not interested in just 2 grams of fiber and one serving of something.
Just be
Well, remember, you don't have to talk about that.
Yeah,
You're not making a statue, you just that for.
Yep, yep. So total added sugars, total sugars, 6 grams and 3 grams, 3 grams and 1 gram, less than 1 gram and 0 grams. So none of them are super alarming, but I don't know why we have to add sugar into a pizza. It's just, well, I know why the food companies do it. It's to get us to, to get us to. I mean, I looked at a Pepsi can, a 16-ounce, 55 grams of sugar. And who can't down a 16 ounces of liquid if you're thirsty? It's 55 grams. That's just nuts. So, and then the protein, so 16 grams, 6 and 5. So that looks, good. But if I think of that white slime going in, into my arteries, that's just not where I want to get. Yeah. And so I figured for me, I would eat 2 or 3 pieces of this. And now I do want to show you something that I won't, not too big. So, I've been vegan / whole food plant-based since 2015, and I'm still learning how to figure out what actually feeds my body. And when I first did this, I showed that I could eat this whole frozen cheesecake from the market of choice, and it was fun to do it in front of everybody because I had to go, oh my God, look how terrible this is, but it was delicious. And so the biggest thing I found that helps me is to have seen what Charlie and Christine eat in a day and just keep on learning slowly over years to feed myself enough of the good stuff so that I don't even want any of that other stuff because I'm so satisfied. And this is one, I mess around with breakfasts, and so this is one breakfast I just had this week that turned out, when I did the math, I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. So I had tempeh, oatmeal, 1 serving of oatmeal, some mushrooms, radish and garlic, which was negligible, an orange, and funnily, Corey was talking about making sure all the pith was off. Well, I just was messing around with things in the last couple months, and I've been eating oranges, slice them and eat the whole thing. I don't peel them, and it's delicious. I think and I figured it out because of JJ and making a salad dressing that she told us about when I went to a meetup thing for Eugene Veggies, and I just thought I'll try it with the whole orange, and I looked up to make sure you could eat the peel.
Right.
You can, as long as you clean it really well. And so I made the dressing, and it turned into a sort of creamy dressing, and it was really good. So then I thought, I'm just going to try to eat the whole orange, and it might not work for everybody, but I absolutely love it, and it gives me more fiber too. So that was 107 calories, and so the total calories was 491, which I actually want more in breakfast because I'm trying to eat more in the morning, so I'm not hungry at nighttime and eating too much. And protein 16, 6. Mushrooms have 5 in 1 cup. I did not know that. I didn't. And then protein 2 for the orange, so that's 29 total grams of protein. And I am finding if I eat like this in the morning, it's so sustaining for me to get robust amount of protein. And I recently started trying to bump up my muscles because I have osteoporosis, and I'm an old lady and I'm supposed to do that and it's been really fun, but I need energy, so. And then the fiber, look at that, tempeh has 9, oatmeal 5, mushrooms 2, the orange with the peel 8, so I got 24 grams of fiber. And how much fiber are we supposed to eat about one day? 45 or 60. Well, we can eat 60, but 25 to 35, it's women are supposed to eat a little less, I'm not sure why exactly, but I mean, I know. But so I already got a wonderful start on my fiber, and then I got some good healthy fat. Everything is healthy in here. If we did the math, 10 times 9 is 90, and so what do we do with that? Is it time to go? Yeah, it's time to go. Okay, so that's that. Okay. And I was gonna say one more thing. Oh yeah, so I just wanted to say that a couple of resources that I used, I haven't listened to these, I've never heard of these people, but Food Labels Revealed with Mel Weinstein. He just did his last one about a year ago, but I listened to merchandising, how we are played in a grocery store, which was really interesting. And then he did a frozen pizza comparison. And I already said that. Yeah, I think I said that. Oh, did I say that? So an average family eats about 30 pizza meals a year, so about once every couple of weeks. And that's a third of the international market of frozen pizzas. So it's in 39 billion annually. And the other one was the Ordinary Vegan Podcast number 54, How to Read a Food Label. So anyway, it was very interesting for me to do this and learn about it, and I hope that you guys got something.
Yesterday, Dr. Greger came out with a video on food additives. If you haven't seen it, you may want to, the health problems associated with it.
Thank you. That's
Okay, thank you, Debbie. That's very well done. Very engaging. Thank you.
everybody at Dr. Clapper on Monday, May 4th at Springfield High School.
Okay, everybody, have a good night until next week.
That you can sign up online and you can watch it for free for 24 hours. That starts soon. Okay.
You all got that? Food Revolution tomorrow. It's free. Okay.
There's every. You're thinking.